The journey to self-realization ends not only when the seeker disappears, but when it's clearly seen that they were never there in the first place. So I've got a question for you. What if the one who's asking, "Who am I?" never actually existed as a sovereign being, but instead I want you to ask yourself, who is the one observing the questioner? I'm assuming by now that if you've been on this path for a while, you've probably read a ton of books, been to seminars, watched lectures, done courses, done practices, and yet that self-realization somehow seems to be elusive. And more than that, it could even be confusing and somewhat frustrating and irritating listening to the words that I just said, because it seems so confusing and unclear when we fully are bought into the felt and really lived sense of being the separate self seeking for something else. But what if the truth of the matter is actually never ever hidden? What if the only one getting in the way of seeing the truth right here and right now is the one who's searching for it? So keep listening until the end, because paradoxically, I won't be giving you any more answers that you already don't have. What I'll be showing you is that eventually you'll end up losing the question itself. Take a mirror for example. Imagine a mirror and there's a reflection appearing within the mirror. Your whole life, you identify with the reflection itself. You take seminars, take courses, you continually try and polish the mirror. And then eventually it's seen, finally, that you're actually not the reflection, you are the mirror itself. And that separate self, apparent separate self, was only an appearance within you. The seeker itself was just an appearance within your own being, which is the mirror. And all of this time, the one that's struggling, searching, suffering is the appearance, just like a thought form appearing within the one mind, appearing within yourself. And it's always been here, right now, right here, behind all the noise, behind all forms, all appearances, all shapes, everything that comes and goes, everything that rises and fades. That self, who you truly are at the core, has always been here and could never be anywhere else. Totally untouched by the search itself, totally untouched by anything, immovable. And in that seeing, in that final breakthrough that happens where the clouds clear and you see the true self for what it really is, for who you really are, the illusion of being the separate self completely dissolves, and the very question itself of who am I completely fades, because it's not just that the question has been answered, it's that there is no one left to question. And what remains is pure presence, pure silence, pure peace, joy, and the very nature of who you really are. And so technically you could even say that nothing's ever found because nothing was ever lost. It could simply be described as the self conceals itself from itself to achieve a certain type of experience, to take on a type of illusion or a type of persona for a temporary period of time so it can achieve that experience. And then so the truth or the presence of who you really are isn't so much that it's found, it's simply revealed and all concealment fades away. And so what happened here in this experience is the truth was seen a few years ago. But since then, what's appeared within the avatar's experience is that there's been a lot of energy playing out, a lot of distortion that's been built up for long periods of time that's been playing out. What it's looked like for me here is that I've had to collapse those frequencies of duality into the self. And so where we can live from is a place where the overriding frequency of our energy field is one based entirely of our soul's core signature. And so all the distortions that are creating looping patterns in our physical experience can be collapsed back into the 0 point. And that's just another way I describe the soul's core frequency as the 0 point, the void, And so that's where the alchemization of these frequencies can be very beneficial into rewriting the codes and the programs that exist within the subconscious, so that you can then project out a new and preferred experience into your physical reality. And so I just wanted this to be a short and sharp video, just to touch on the self, the seeking, the questioner, and how it becomes completely transparent when it's revealed that the self was the one behind all of it all along, and everything that appears is simply an appearance, like a holographic appearance within the self, within the soul, just like a projection on a screen. And so what can happen is, if there is a lot of turbulence that's surrounding your experience because there's a lot of misqualified frequencies within your aura, a lot of beliefs based in duality, what we can do is we can bring that to the surface, we can focus in on them, and we can work to collapse those beliefs and those frequencies that are associated with those beliefs back into the non-dual frequency of the self. And over time, what you'll find is that this clears up a lot of the turbulence, or at least enough for you to see through to the truth of who you always are and who you've always been. And then it's a alchemical cascading effect of, when you're resting in the resonance of your core vibration, all of the other frequencies that are misqualified and out of alignment seem to just start unraveling and unwinding, so that more and more of your core soul's signature, your core vibration, can displace those misqualified frequencies and take up more of your immediate aura and energy field, so that then the physical experience that you're perceiving in everyday life can transform to be a direct reflection of your core soul signature. So that's very, very important in returning to your soul's original blueprint, your soul's core signature, because then everything that's aligned with that signature as a physical reflection can be experienced in your day-to-day life, instead of experiencing looping patterns of negative or unwanted situations, because there's some sort of distorted frequency on a subconscious level that you may be unaware of, that's then being refracted or reflected out into the screen of your experience. And that's why it seems like you're stuck or looping. It's simply because there is this program running based on a misqualified or distorted frequency that is simply being reflected in the physical experience. You could almost say that the physical experience is neutral because it is just a direct reflection, much like the reflection in a mirror is completely neutral because it is only reflecting that which you are presenting to it. And so the idea behind this video was just really to create some pointers, to have a discussion about the seeker and the nature of the seeker. So the transparency that you'll eventually see or come into realization of behind the seeker and the very question itself of who am I? So when the seeker disappears, there you are, there you have always been. And that's why a lot of the Zen texts that you read that kind of sound a little bit mystical, a little bit paradoxical, and you kind of think that's really a play on words, it's funnily enough almost direct pointings, or at least as direct as possible pointings to the true self, because the reality is that the physical avatar and the physical experience is like a projection, an empty projection of reflections of different frequencies and programs playing out. And when that is seen, that the true self resides behind all things, that's untouched, unchanging, unmoving, then that's when it's clearly seen that you've always been there, the silence, the indescribable silence behind all appearances. So if this has resonated at all, I would love it for you to subscribe so you could keep receiving these videos as and when they're released. And if you want to learn more about the collapsing and unwinding of those distorted frequencies that may be sitting in your subconscious mind that you're unaware of, so you can start clearing the turbulence or clearing the cloud cover that's hiding the sun, then I would invite you to click on the video above, and that's going to take you through one of the most powerful techniques I used initially to start unwinding the momentum of duality and negative beliefs. Thanks for watching.